Why would people? I don't see how their games are similar. I mean,
Well, like they're the same size, the same kind of target share range, and
height.
the same kind of like target profile.
I guess. Yeah, maybe.
Isn't Chark like way slower?
No,
No.
Chark is ridiculously
Yeah.
fast.
I'm sorry, not Chark. I meant
Yeah,
Galladay. Isn't Galladay
yeah.
way slower?
Yeah,
Sorry,
like Galladay's like a contested catch king, whereas Chark is the intended air yards king.
He's very good at not realizing his air
yeah, unrealized air yards. He leads the league every fucking
year. You think one day he'll realize them?
No, he will not.
I like Chark. I like Chark.
I love Chark too. It's just every week I'm like, oh, Chark went 3 for 12. And I'm like, that's great. Like as a baseball average, like, well, it's not even great. It's 250. But
it'd be good if he has a good slugging percentage.
Yeah, maybe his OPS is good. Maybe he gets a lot of walks. But every time you look up, like it never fails. I'm like, how did Chark only have 3 catches? And then I look at the targets and I'm like, yeah, he had 10 of them. Like, are they just purposely missing him? It doesn't matter who the quarterback.
I'm not sure, but every week, although Marquise Brown used to also be a victim of being overthrown, but now he just can't catch.
Dude, that was so bad, man. That was so frustrating.
He was my most.
We're gonna talk about that
DFS. Too. Like my most played. I was like, all right, here's what's gonna happen. Everyone's gonna be playing this Bucks Rams game. Everyone's gonna be playing this Chiefs Chargers game. You know what? Ravens are missing these guys on defense. The Lions are way better than people think, and no one's playing either of the Ravens pass catchers. So it's like I'm just gonna play Lamar and Andrews. I'm gonna play Lamar Brown, and I'm gonna run it back with Swift. And I was like, we're gonna have a good time. And Swift crushed, and Lamar should have crushed, and Hollywood Brown should have had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, dude, it's like living in a nightmare because I actually wrote about this for Player Profile. Like this was my main game that I was actually tackling because I thought that the roster percentages and all that stuff would have been perfect. Like it was an ideal situation.
Same game for the same website, and it failed us.
Oh my God.
But don't you feel good that the process was right?
The process was right.
Can't pay for my pizza.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm always told, look, so when the results don't hit, what you're supposed to do is cite the process.
Right. Well, I do think the process was good, but the problem is that I'm poor, and it would be nice if the process would have allowed Marquise Brown to not drop 3 touchdown bombs. 3.
Yeah, but look, here's the thing. So
was it 2 or 3? It was 3 total.
He dropped 3 touchdowns
one
total
in the end zone. And then one
I saw that
probably would have become a touchdown, but he dropped it at like the 40-yard line.
And then the one hit him in the face mask. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing, okay? So you have to remember the law of the butterfly effect, right? Butterfly effect.
Right.
If he catches, the only touchdown you can say with certainty that he dropped was the first touchdown. Because after that touchdown, that would have created a ripple that changed the future. Yeah. And there's no telling what could have happened at that point.
Well, what I'm saying is it's not as much that I wanted the 3 additional touchdowns.
One would have done.
It's that I had 3 opportunities at 1 long touchdown, and any one of the 3 would have worked. Like I don't need all 3, but it's like normally I'm like, oh man, if that one holding penalty, whatever. It's like no, he actually had 3 separate chances, and any individual one of them could have helped quite a bit.
Yeah, yes, I get that. Yeah, so I just want to point out there, like, don't think that he was going to have 3 touchdowns because again, the butterfly effect. Maybe he catches that first touchdown
and then caught one, they would have kept throwing to him,
or he blows his knee out on the next play. Who knows?
Well, all right. You guys ready? You guys ready to start the show out?
No, but I'll figure out how to get ready.
Let's go live.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Shane Manila, Jacob Sanderson, and Chase Vernon.
Shane, you do not have a firm grasp of that song, I don't think. I mean, you're close, but it's not firm grasp. You know, it's
a remix. I remix it.
Have you ever seen those Russian nesting dolls?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like our facial hair is. We have like Chase is the big nesting doll, and then like your little scruffle can fit in that, and then my bare cheeks can just float right inside and nest and hibernate for a good long time.
Love that, Jacob. Love that. Welcome on into Fantasy Intervention, everybody. We have another show coming at you. It's the it's the Wednesday show where we all bicker and argue and talk shit to each other the entire show.
Hey,
we also
answer Chase.
Yeah, fuck you too. We also answer the questions in the chat from Fantasy Football Discussion along with Twitter and whatnot. So make sure you guys get those questions in. Start sick questions. We have a trade expert over here with Shane, of course, and we pretty much answer any question that you have. This is an AMA, I guess, as well. It's an AMA. So,
are we on Reddit?
Yeah,
are we streaming live to Reddit?
4chan.
Because one time Reddit found me when I wrote about handcuffs, and Reddit loves handcuffs.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Reddit didn't like me, but I don't like Reddit either, so it's fine.
But Reddit, real quick though, Reddit's an interesting community because there's some stuff I've read on there, like fantasy football wise, not venturing off into other things. But there's some stuff I've read on there where I've gone, wow, this is really, really good. But then there's other times, that I've been on there and it's like literally fighting with cavemen.
It's like Seth MacFarlane. It's a volume play, right? Like Seth MacFarlane tells so many jokes on a given Family Guy episode, and 9 out of 10 of them aren't remotely funny and are mostly just offensive. But then 1 out of 10 is actually hilarious.
But remember, Seth MacFarlane, he's doing it with a wink. So it's not really. Oh,
right.
Anyway, let's go.
No, that makes sense. So let's go ahead and hop into this episode. Let's go with a little bit of a recap. So far with our points game, where we play towards the tail end of our shows, we're actually all pretty close. I've got 6 points. Shane has 5 points, and Jacob has 6 points. So Jacob and I are tied up. Meanwhile, Shane is just 1 point behind us. But let me tell you guys, week 3.
Shane, why are you so bad, bro?
I mean, legitimate question, Shane. I actually have to stop.
I literally, I'm going to put more effort into this going forward. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm definitely going to start reading the Vegas lines, a little trending articles, some DFS, and start boning up on this and get better.
I mean, do you even fantasy if you can't beat us? Come on now.
Yeah, we're not doing well.
No.
Last week was
low bar.
I would tell you what, I would not take our start sick recommendations from the lower tier of players. Like when we're like, oh, let's go outside the top 30 and see what we can find. I don't think that's
20,
us.
Shane. It's the top 20.
Look, these are all numbers and they're all relative. We got questions. Come on, let's get to the questions.
We'll get to the questions. Before we do, let's talk about last week because we had some good and we had some bad, right? The good was Sam Darnold, who absolutely crushed. That was my pick, who finished 5th overall in the week. And then we had
he was throwing it to my pick.
Yeah, Jacob picked DJ Moore, who I don't know why he was outside the top 20, and you actually said that in the show. That never makes any sense. DJ Moore should never be outside the top 20, but he was last week. He ended up finishing 12th, so borderline wide receiver 1, but guess what? You still nailed it. Meanwhile, we were really bad at picking the running backs outside the top 20. We went with Gaskin, Sonny Michel, Leonard Fournette, and Kenny Gainwell, and they finished 30th.
Geo week. Who knew?
28th, 42nd, and he also tied for 42nd with Kenny Gainwell. So that was not good. Our tight ends were even uglier outside of Everett, who Jacob picked and finished 13th overall, but that's still not what you really want from the tight end position, especially when we look at the fact that I believe almost all the tight ends outside of like the top 3 or 4 actually came from the bottom half of the tight end list. I mean, we talked about Gesicki was one of them. Tyler Conklin was another. I mean,
what the hell was that? I mean, Gesicki, he was Mike Gesicki for 2 weeks. He had 3 catches. And then they bring in Fuller, who supposedly is their number 1 wide receiver, or at least, one of 3 number 1 wide receivers. It's like, oh, okay, this tight end that was out there running wind sprints, he's certainly going to be fit. No, 10 catches for Gesicki. Jacoby Brissett, man, had over 120 targets to the tight end both his 2 years as a Colts starting quarterback, because that's all he can do is just throw it like 5 yards at the tight end. I mean, if Jack Doyle can do it, I guess why not Gesicki?
Yep, completely agree with you there. I mean, Dawson Knox was another guy that hit. With that being said, I mean, this isn't something we're going to try and chase, right? Like, we're not going to be chasing the Gesicki points.
I almost picked Knox. I had Knox on the sheet last week, and I erased it forever.
Yeah, why did you not go with Knox? That would have been a good pick.
You actually
I would
said
have.
it on the
I
show.
said it on the show that I liked Knox last week, and I didn't go with it.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Hate it.
But let's go ahead and dive into this upcoming week. We've talked enough about, what happened and, how we just want to look away. We just want to look away. It was ugly. I feel like we need to get Mike back on the show to help us out with these picks because last year Mike was killing it. But anyways, we're going to start out with this question from David Goodman. Is there any word on A.J. Brown and Josh Jacobs as of right now? We were actually talking about it in the group chat that we had. What's the latest update? We'll start out with Jacobs over here.
I don't think that there is one yet. He didn't practice.
Oddly, there's nothing on Jacobs.
I tried to look it up. That's why I pivoted off the question.
I haven't heard anything. I don't think he practiced today, but maybe.
I know they're hopeful for him to play, but it's like also.
I know AJ Brown. AJ Brown didn't practice, but that doesn't even mean anything because even when AJ Brown's healthy, he doesn't practice on Wednesdays. So you really probably won't. No, but seriously, right? Like when he's completely healthy, he doesn't practice till Friday. So there's no chance he's practicing till Friday this week. I think that he's going to miss this week, probably maybe 2 weeks max. But there's no point in even checking until Friday on AJ Brown. He'd be missing it anyway.
He's not going to play. I'd be absolutely stunned if he played.
They're playing the Jets.
Yeah, for one, they're playing the Jets too. He was immediately ruled out of that game, and it's a hamstring injury.
Yeah, but he had like 3 quarters plus a whole week to recover from it. It wasn't just like a week. It was a week plus 3 quarters.
Oh, so and they played in an early game. They also played in an early game.
Yeah, they played in the 1 o'clock game.
Just remember this, guys. Anytime a player is immediately ruled out of a game, not great. Not great.
He wasn't, though. He wasn't ruled out till after halftime.
No, he was ruled out before that.
No, he wasn't.
You're wrong. And he's not playing this week. Jacobs, we don't even know if he's still on the team, to be quite honest with you. But Jacobs,
I think Peyton Barber stole the job, man. He was so impressive.
I understand.
Would you be shocked? Like,
yes.
Would you put anything past Gruden?
No, Gruden. No, Jacobs is now our third down back.
Yeah. We're actually gonna cut Kenyon Drake, who we gave $14 million to. Jacobs will now play exclusively on third downs, and Barber's actually ex-wide receiver, and Hunter Renfrow is the tailback.
Look, don't worry about practicing until Friday. It just doesn't. Like Jacob was saying, but it doesn't look good for either of these players. Hopefully Jacobs gets in there, but check the practice reports on Friday is when you should be more concerned about than Wednesday.
Okay, so let me actually ask you guys like a question, like a legit one on this. Let's just say you have a player that you're kind of on the borderline of playing on like on Thursday night. Let's just say let's do Marvin Jones or DJ Chark or Laviska Shenault, whatever your least favorite of the 3 are.
Laviska.
Are you playing them? Or are you hoping that Josh Jacobs actually plays?
Do I have
obviously that's a flex position question versus, let's say Carlos Hyde or even James Robinson. Like, are you actually taking a chance on one of these guys?
See, James Robinson, I might play anyway.
Yeah, I play Robinson over
Jacobs because his usage is trending in the right way. But okay, so Laviska Shenault, like if I have that level, if it's Laviska Shenault and Josh Jacobs, I'll wait to see what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs.
Just play Hunter Renfrow. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I can find Laviska Shenault production somewhere, most likely.
Yeah, like with Josh Jacobs, for instance.
If he happens to play, yes. And if he doesn't play, trust me, there'll be someone in a redraft league. There's going to be someone on the wire I can pick up if, for some reason I have no one on my bench.
You can get AJ Green off the waiver wire probably in half your leagues. I mean, Christian Kirk was available on waivers this week, and he's a decent start every week. Like there's guys that you can get who are as good or better than Shenault, or at least have, equal chance to fall into the end zone, which is really all you're looking for on these low end flexes anyways, I think.
Well, while we're talking about flex, we got another question over here from John. He's saying Mike Davis or Kyle Pitts in the flex.
Kyle Pitts in the flex. What's that all about?
I mean, over Mike Davis, I wouldn't hate that.
No, but I just mean like I wonder what his tight end situation is. Anyway,
good.
Yeah,
good.
Kyle Pitts hasn't been good.
Well, no, but Kyle Pitts is at
right. But if you drafted Kyle Pitts, you probably expected him to be good, right? Like,
right. Yep. I get what you're saying. Yeah. But if he can flex Kyle Pitts, that means he probably has a decent tight end. Man, I don't want to play Mike Davis if I don't have to. But Kyle Pitts' targets are going down every week for reasons I can't really explain. At least Davis, even though I know Cordell or Patterson is the better player and he's vulturing half that work.
7 catches a game, baby.
Yeah, I guess I would go Mike Davis, hoping that he'll fall into the end zone.
I'm going to go Pitts because I don't hate myself quite as much as Shane does. He's become old, weathered, and depressed. And I mean, Mike Davis. I mean, what are we trying to accomplish? Like he's got like 12 carries a game and 4 targets. What's he freaking do? He's going to turn it into 30 yards receiving and 30 yards rushing if he's lucky. Cody Carpentier was on the show with us last week and does a show with Chase now. He had the best tweet about Mike Davis. He said that he has such little juice that every time you see him in space, you just immediately see the space close up that used to be there, and you don't realize why. It's just that he's so slow that defenders move so much faster than him. The space just evaporates into thin air.
Kind of like a dying flashlight.
I think you should just play Pitts. Way more fun, way more upside. And Washington has been pretty dreadful against tight ends. Jared Cook had a really, really great game against him week 1, especially usage-wise. I think he had like 8 or 9 targets. I mean, they didn't play any tight end in week 2. It was Kyle Rudolph, so that doesn't count. And then last week we saw Dawson Knox, friend of the podcast, Dawson Knox, have a big breakout game. So I have faith in Kyle Pitts to get back on track. I mean, Matt Ryan was coming out and saying he's going to get targets in a flurry.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
In a flurry. He's going to get a flurry of targets.
Dude, up against Washington, I mean, you have probably one of the worst teams at defending the tight end when it comes to Washington.
Worst teams at defending so far.
Yeah, they've been bad. But really up against the tight end. I like Kyle Pitts in this one. I do not want to start Mike Davis up against that Washington front. They've been actually getting pressures on the quarterback, but at the same time, they haven't been converting them into sacks, and it's actually affected the defense tremendously. One thing teams haven't really been able to do is run on them. So I'm fading Mike Davis big time. I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts in this one. All right, so we got a dynasty trade question from Jamie in here.
Yes.
Benjamin. Oh my God.
Should I just crush like a can or something like when we have a trade question? Is that going to be a sound effect?
Yeah.
Oh, that was kind of disturbing.
Yeah, I don't like that. We got to find another sounder.
So this question is really Hines for Carter, because let's not pretend like Benjamin is a thing.
What?
Yeah, Benjamin's useless.
You guys said that about Colin Johnson once upon a time.
I would say that today as well.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Johnson's going to give me the 2 weeks where I
looked at the waiver wire and I saw Colin Johnson was on it, and I was like, man, do I want to spend the next 20 seconds making clicking motions with my finger, or do I just want to turn my phone off? And I picked the latter, actually.
Okay. For Carter, I feel like Michael Carter is poised for breakout. I mean, he's seen the targets necessary. I'm trying to make some sense out of this. But Nyheim Hines is
an ugly trade. It's one of those trades. It's like any move you make feels like it's going to be the wrong one, because
it's a lateral move for sure.
If you trade Carter away, you almost know that he's going to just become a thing. And if you trade Hines away, you already know that he's going to half his weeks. He's going to have like these really good weeks, and then these other weeks
the ones
he's going to do
mentioned,
nothing.
Of course,
yeah, because you have no idea when to play him. Based on at least. I hate this trade with all my heart. I probably wouldn't make this. Would be one I would just decline either side I was on. Like no matter what side I had.
Because the reward is so low, but the regret factor is so high.
And that's the problem. I guess I'm leaning Carter because at least he has the hope of being the leading back on that roster, and I never know when to play Hines. I've missed every week so far this year with Hines.
Yeah, I'm with you on Hines for 2 straight years is my favorite best ball pick. This is the second consecutive year he's in my most rostered best ball running back, because he's available like round 13, and I know he's going to have 6 RB1 weeks. I just don't know when they're going to be. So I love to have him in best ball. I hate him in season long. I mean, just like last week, or week 1, of course, I didn't play him anywhere because it's week 1. And then I was like, oh, they're going to throw the running backs. Play him in week 2. Useless. Sit him in week 3. Oh, it's RB1.
It's just
had enough of
it. Almost hurts having him on your roster more, but I actually
it hurts you emotionally. It makes me feel bad about myself. It makes sleepers say worst manager, RTDB.
All right, so I actually have a definitive answer on this, all right? And it's going to be Carter, because Hines, you can only get so much value for if you try to trade him away, right? If you try to trade him away, this is pretty much what you're going to get is Michael Carter. However, if Michael Carter strings together 2 or 3 big weeks over the next 2 years, not just this year, but I think over the next couple of years, if he strings together a handful of weeks, you're going to be able to get a good chunk for Carter, because people are going to think that he's on his way to have high level success. He's going to be that guy. So I'm actually going to take Carter in this, like, hands down. It's not even remotely close for me, because I want the guy who can increase his value more than any other player, and I think that's Carter.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to this next section. I don't know if you guys had anybody. We didn't have anybody that entered anything in, but are there any players that could have been dropped this past week, like a Kadarius Toney, possibly somebody along those lines, where they actually
giant snap leader Kadarius Toney?
Just saying.
He still didn't actually catch a pass, did he?
Yeah. Maybe one. No, I don't think he did.
Yeah,
I think he saw 2 targets or something.
He was Chris Hoganing it.
Is there anybody that could have gotten dropped this past week? Maybe even like a Tyson Williams that you might be interested in picking up?
No, because Tyson Williams is in a split backfield with Latavius Murray and Devontae Freeman, the ghost of Devontae Freeman.
The ghost of fantasy leagues past.
Maybe if someone dropped Elijah Mitchell, only because they saw, all right, well, here's Trey Sermon's big chance, which I was very hopeful for.
Played by a fullback.
Yeah, he did. He got out targeted and out touched, and I didn't even see the snap counts, but I'll just guess he was out.
He was out
by the fullback. Look, Shanahan used him, but very begrudgingly.
Checked him.
Yeah, so there's every chance in the world that when Elijah comes back, who I also don't think is very good at football, but he's going to get every chance in the world to get a shot at that job again.
Yeah, can I say on Elijah, I don't understand. People have been victory lapping now for 2 weeks that it was a bad use of fab, and I don't know why it was a bad use of fab. Like people are like, oh my god, could you imagine those losers who spent all their fab on Elijah Mitchell? Like, I don't know, that seems fine. Like he played in week 2, he got literally every single carry until he got hurt, and then the other guy who supposedly was going to challenge for his job essentially was the 1B to a fullback. So, like Shane said, I mean, when Elijah Mitchell comes back, I have every expectation he's the starter. Yeah, definitely grab him.
Does he come back this week?
I think
and
so.
If he does, are you playing him up against Seattle, who sucked up against the running back so far?
Yeah, 100% I am. He's practicing this week. You're going to have a probably a pretty fast-paced back and forth affair going up against Seattle. I mean, Seattle can't stop anyone, and no one seems like they can stop them either. Chris Carson might be out this week, so Seattle might not be able to establish the run. Fire it up.
Alex Collins says, yeah, we will.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to this next section.
Pick up Alex Collins. There's one. If he's on your waiver wire, pick up Alex Collins, because Carson's dealing with a hamstring and he has a tendency to aggravate those.
How about deep sleeper like Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah, actually, this is the crazy. People are spending like $100 fab on Chuba Hubbard.
He's for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like McCaffrey might be back.
Here's the thing. So McCaffrey is entering that okay, this guy is always injured phase. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be, but there's definitely that concern there.
Yeah,
so when you look at it, you go, all right, Chuba's not Christian McCaffrey, because no one is.
Spoiler alert.
But Mike Davis averaged 15 points a game in that offense last year.
He's losing his job to a 30-year-old kick returner.
Right. Chuba, who has no vision, doesn't need it though, but he will put up 17 points a week on that roster. So I completely get the Hubbard love. Hubbard.
And let me bring this up as well, just to add to it. I was listening to Edwin Porras, and then we were talking for a second, and he brought up the fact that 28% of the time there's a hamstring injury, a player re-injures it. Yeah, there's a recurring rate of 28%. So I believe the majority of that, it's like 15 or 18% of the time of that is actually the first week that he comes back, and then they miss an extended amount of time after that. Way more, it could be double or triple the amount of time as the first injury.
Yeah, I call that the Will Fuller corollary.
Yeah, and you can.
One out of 4 is a good shot. 1 out of 4 is like a good
do you remember that
rate.
season with Fuller where I think it was like he had 3 separate hamstring strains? Like he kept having. I think it happened to Devontae Parker one season too, where it's like he had a hamstring strain, that he came back and then he immediately restrained the hamstring, and then
you only have 2 of them, so I don't even know how you sprained 3 of them. It makes no sense.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop into flex plays with good matchups, and then we'll.
Did he leave?
We
lost Chase. Well, that's not good, because I put no work into this. So I
didn't either. What are we supposed to talk about? Flex plays with good matchups?
So we love Jalen Waddle versus the Colts.
Do we?
We do.
Oh, I'm back.
Why? Why do we?
Well, Chase, why don't you get into why we love Jalen Waddle?
All right, so the Colts so far have allowed 5 touchdowns to the slot receiver so far this season, not including like over, I believe, 200 yards to the slot
Yeah, but
receiver.
does that include Cooper Kupp? Like Cooper Kupp is the
Cooper Kupp got 2 of them. Cooper Kupp. Are you calling him the mother of dragons?
He is the mother of dragons. He's the unburnt.
Yes, but they were designing plays for Cooper Kupp to actually succeed up against this offense, and the Colts were actually bad in the slot last year. Kenny Moore had like 1 or 2 great games. Outside of that, he got beat in the slot continuously and is showing this year. He makes big plays, but he also jumps routes, which allows teams to beat him in the slot. So we've seen him get beat in the slot to the tune of 5 touchdowns over 200 yards this upcoming season. Meanwhile, Waddle saw 13 targets. Now, it wasn't great. It wasn't pretty. I believe he caught 12 of them for like 58 yards.
12 for 58, which is what we all expected from big play threat Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, the exact opposite of that. But I believe that he will be able to do something against Kenny Moore, who's a little bit more porous, or this defense is a little more porous in the middle of the field versus on the outside. So I'm locking
So he's
Waddle.
going to go 14 for 70?
And a touchdown.
Well, plus, I don't know if you guys have factored this in yet, but are you aware that it's a Jacoby Brissett revenge game?
It is a Jacoby Brissett revenge game. So he's going to have an average depth of target of like 7.2 yards.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
No, I don't mind I don't like hate the Waddle call. I definitely think the way the Colts play is they're very bend but don't break. So I don't think it's a fuller week. I don't think it would matter actually who they were playing. I think if they could play against the cast of Sandlot and it wouldn't be a fuller week because Jacoby Brissett can't throw the ball down the field whatsoever. So it'll be Gesicki and Waddle, and I don't know. I don't imagine Parker's going to do much because he's always covered, and Brissett doesn't throw to people who are in contested catch situations. So I can't wait to see 6 dump offs to Gaskin, 10 to Gesicki, and about 16 targets to Waddle for 42 yards.
Yeah, but guess what? He still put up 17.8 fantasy points, and you're using that in the flex
league.
Yeah,
you go.
That's fine.
You're cashing that in.
I don't see. And there's no reason
who would have thought that rookie Jalen Waddle is actually just rookie Jarvis Landry? Same team, same role.
Oh
same
my God, that was gold. I need to clip that. I'm writing it down.
I'm actually putting that in an article and claiming that I came up with that. So.
That was great, Jacob. I love that. All right. So when we look at the next player that I have, Peyton Barber up against the Chargers. The Chargers are very porous on the inside. They're able to run against. However, if Josh Jacobs plays, obviously this take is no good.
Second time you said porous.
Oh, I say porous a lot.
Actually, third if we count. Also, if we count Edwin Porras, it's the third.
Stop, dude. All right, so then we have. I don't even need to talk about Peyton Barber up against Chargers that much.
You have to play him if he's starting because apparently he's a bell
cow. The Raiders, man. Like, what are we doing? So they paid Kenyon Drake $14 million, picked up Peyton Barber off waivers, and then as soon as Jacob gets hurt, it's the Peyton Barber show. Like,
because
what is Gruden doing?
Drake missed a block. Drake missed a block, so that means that Peyton Barber became the 3-down back.
He became good.
And he actually got targets. He out-targeted Drake.
I know.
Which, and as a Josh Jacobs stan, I'm like, go fuck yourself, Gruden. Seriously. Like, come on. Like, this fucking guy, this guy. Not Jacobs. Not the guy that... whatever.
So how does it feel as a Jacobs stan and a Ronald Jones stan to watch Peyton Barber ruin all your sons?
So there's somebody in the industry that I respect a lot. And he is very, very good at identifying people who have great vision, right? And have great, move well in space. But he always picks these unathletic tight ends, like a Trey Sermon, for example, to get behind. And he loves Peyton Barber. And I'm like, dude,
is this Matt Waldman?
Imagine if Peyton Barber was actually athletic. Like, that would be the cherry.
Well, this has to be a Jay Moyer take, isn't it?
I'm not saying who it is.
The comedian?
No. I've seen Jay Moyer talk up Peyton Barber before.
I used to date this girl named Jen Moyer.
Was it Jen Moyer?
All right, so let's go to the next guy. Zach Moss up against Houston. Houston has a poor secondary. This is is this one of your dudes?
Yeah, that's my pick at running back.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see it. I wrote this beforehand. We'll go back to that here in a little bit. Let me make sure that I didn't pick the wide receivers. Yeah. Okay, so Jacoby Myers up against Ross Cockrell, like for Tampa Bay.
Not Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman's not playing in the slot. Richard Sherman doesn't have the athleticism to play in the slot. No,
he doesn't have the athleticism to play cornerback anymore.
You're probably right about that.
So.
But Jacoby Myers for me is a must start. I think he's an excellent matchup. Terrace Marshall in the slot over Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis for the Cowboys. I mean, like Terrace Marshall's going to tower over this guy. He's going to physically dominate him. I think that Terrace Marshall has a chance to have his rookie breakout performance. Do you guys have anybody else to add, or should we move on to the listener questions?
I'd
rather talk to the listener gods.
Yeah, I like the listeners. I gotta be honest with you. That's my favorite part of this show is answering the listener questions. I don't like all the homework you give us, to be quite frank.
Have you ever been anything but frank?
I can't. All right, so let's go ahead to the flex. We have James Robinson, Devonta Smith.
But I hate his floor.
I love his ceiling, like Jacob said, but I hate his floor. We should just start reading the questions.
I like Devonta Smith, even though I keep saying I like Devonta Smith on this show every time. And other than week 1, it has gone poorly. But I do. I mean, they're gonna have no choice but to throw the ball against the Chiefs. And I'll tell you what, they have no issue abandoning the run.
For no apparent reason.
For instance, sometimes their starting running back, one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL, has 27 yards on 2 carries. They're like, no, we're good.
Dude, that game gave me an aneurysm. That game, and I'm not even an Eagles fan. Shane is an Eagles fan. Shane over here has it worse than I do. And I was having an aneurysm because of Miles Sanders. And I lost a lot of money because of Miles Sanders. And it started out great.
I lost the game by 0.7 with Miles Sanders.
It wasn't Miles Sanders' fault because when Miles Sanders averaged...
He had 55 yards on 5 touches.
He averaged 11 yards per touch. I mean, that is exquisite.
He deserves
even if
better.
you just give him 10 touches, he does deserve better. He's someone...
He was great last year.
Yeah, he's been great in his look. He had a lot of drop passes last year, and he made other mistakes, like real football related, like missing blocks and things like that. But when you have the ball in his hands, there's not many better players in the league, like flat out. And every coach that he's had, Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni, so all 2 of them, are like, you know what we're gonna do? We're not giving this guy the fucking ball because that's how maybe, you know what? Maybe he wouldn't average 11 yards a touch if you gave him 10 touches a game. Maybe he'd only average, 7 yards a touch. That's still pretty good.
It's still pretty
anyway,
good.
I'm going to get Rager 7 targets and they kept throwing at Goddard who's dropping passes and Smith is falling on routes and
I'm going James Robinson. The Chiefs have been really bad against the pass this year. The Eagles are going to have to throw, but here's the thing: we just saw the Eagles throw with abandon. Right? They just threw 53 times to 3 runs, something like that. Their offense
threw for a lot of yards. Like
a lot of garbage points. He got a ton of garbage points.
Well, what do you think they're gonna get against the Chiefs? A lot of garbage points.
But the thing is, Nick Sirianni is very reactive. I've noticed, and he's gotten his head beaten by the media about not running the ball. And I think he's starting to realize Jalen Hurts' limitations, unfortunately, are what they are, and you can't have him attempting deep passes every 4 plays because he doesn't have the arm strength or the accuracy for it, which is kind of scary because he doesn't have the accuracy for a short game either. But anyway, I think Miles Sanders is going to have a big week. So
I hope so.
I'm guessing Smith is going to have a low scoring this week. So I would go with James Robinson.
I think that Hurts is, I mean, like he didn't play well Monday night, but I'm still like I mean, I guess I was far higher on Hurts than most people preseason, but I'm still pretty high on Hurts. I mean, I thought he played terrific in week 1. He was exquisite. Mm-hmm. I thought he played really well in week 2, honestly, as well. I thought he did. I watched that whole game. I thought he looked pretty good. His PFF grades were phenomenal.
PFF graded him better this week than Dak Prescott, too.
Yeah, well, I didn't think he played well in week 3. I'm saying I thought he played well in week 2. I didn't think he played well in week 3. But I mean, he also didn't have a lot of help. I mean, I'm watching this game, and it's like every time Dallas gets the ball. I mean, Pollard and Zeke were getting 6-7 yards before they were even touched, before they were even witnessed.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like they were just running against air the entire time. And I mean, Hurts, Jesus, it was like he takes the snap, and it looked like the Wentz offensive line again. It was like turnstile after turnstile, and he's running around. And
well, here's the thing. It is the Wentz offensive line now because they're down 3 starting linemen now, which they will be again this week.
Every year to your freaking Eagles.
I don't know. They're bad people. I don't know. They had no problem employing Deshaun Jackson's anti-Semitic ass last year, and they're being punished by God for it.
He had a fantastic week.
He did, and I couldn't cheer for him. Anyway, so I'm going James Robinson. Just I feel he's safer because that Eagles offense scares me. And the other thing, talking about that Eagles offense, and I was looking for it yesterday, and if anyone can find it, please send it to me. They for some reason stopped doing any pre-snap motion. Like they just
I saw that too.
I have no idea
did zero
why.
snaps of motion. Like, what are we doing next year?
And week one, that's part of what made their offense so fun is that they had multiple sets. And I even wrote it up. They had multiple different looks and they had a lot of pre-snap motion. And since then, it's just been the same thing over and over. And it's like you said, it's literally Hurts dropping back and them going, all right, guys, good luck. Like, I hope this wide receiver wins a route. Like, you got to be a little imaginative in the NFL. But anyway, all that to say, James Robinson, I'm sorry.
So with the Bengals, right, they're actually very, very good up against the run. They're allowing the fourth least yards per carry. And I believe like the 6th, 7th, 8th least yards per game on the ground. However, they're one of two teams that actually allows more yards in the air to the running back than actually on the ground. And James Robinson is now being used in the passing game, which we saw last week. What was it? 6 catches on 6 targets. They are extremely, extremely porous up against pass catching running backs. And I said porous again.
Are they porous?
And drink.
God. Oh man, it's gonna be one of those.
Got my Miller High Life tonight. The champagne.
Dude, the champagne. Oh man, I got a story for you for another time. But anyways, I think Jacksonville's gonna be down in this game. The Bengals are playing very, very well. I think that James Robinson is gonna get work in the passing game. Although I still like Devonta Smith for this week, I think that James Robinson is gonna be one of my top DFS low end plays that will probably have.
Hey, showdown slate. Showdown slate.
Oh well,
he's on the main slate.
You're right. Yep, you're right. I'm still gonna have a ton of James Robinson DFS, and he'll be in the captain slot. Yep. But God, we spent a lot of time on James Robinson versus Devonta Smith.
Thoughts on Trimble? He's athletic, but he didn't produce at all in college. I think he's probably more of like an H-back type than a tight end. If you're in a deep dynasty league, he's definitely worth a stash, but I wouldn't keep your hopes up.
Yeah, I
forget who wrote it up, and I apologize, but they basically comped him to Kyle Juszczyk, which is it's fine if you get Kyle Juszczyk work from yesterday, but that's not usual Kyle Juszczyk work. Usually you get 1 rushing attempt, 1 target, and 14 excellent blocks. So yeah, I'm not running, I'm not spending a ton of money on Tommy Tremble. There's got to be someone else on that waiver wire.
We're going to cover that here in a little bit, Jay. So if you stay tuned towards the tail end of our show, tight ends are going to be in this. We're going to have 3 top tight ends that we're picking outside the top 15. So if you're streaming tight ends, you'll probably find somebody that we're talking about that'll be on that list.
I actually am excited for Dan Arnold in Jacksonville, though, because James O'Shaughnessy is the most jaggy motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. And he was actually getting targets there. So I think Dan Arnold could be interesting.
The Irish elbow drop with O'Shaughnessy. All right. So we have Claypool or Pittman. I've got Gordon Jacobs, Marlon Mack. To your advice. Thank you very much, sir. And Barber, start 1. AJ Brown was 0 in the first quarter. Believe me, Titans fan here.
Oh, he was out, declared out, I guess they're saying.
Yeah, so
I don't think so. I was watching that game.
I am an AJ Brown fanatic.
Dude, my sleeper. Okay, if you think I was missing a snap of this game, my sleeper profile photo is AJ Brown, and I'm a Colts fan. Like, I'm watching every snap of this game. I don't know why I'm watching Colts games. I don't know.
Claypool,
just, like, Pittman. Wrist,
I've got Gordon Jacobs or Pittman. And Barber start.
So this is 2 separate questions. I'm thinking then.
It feels
First
like
one is Claypool or Pittman, and then it's Gordon Jacobs or Mack or Barber.
I'm going Pittman just because of the volume and the fact that as bad as Carson Wentz is, he looks a lot better than Roethlisberger right now, who even with volume. What?
Go ahead. Marlon Mack first off was a stash, so I don't know what that has to do with starting them. I think that
you're not starting Marlon Mack. They're not even playing him because they want to trade him.
Yeah, no. So that's a stash play where he could end up with Atlanta or Miami. Obviously you have Jacobs and Barber on the same team, so you can't start both of them.
Right, but I think just you start Jacobs, and if Jacobs is out, then I would start Barber.
Yeah. But Claypool or Pittman?
I would play Claypool, but I'm okay. If Deontay Johnson or Juju misses, then I'm absolutely playing Claypool because they're both injured. And last week Claypool's role was freaking awesome. with Deontay Johnson out. He got 15 targets, a ton of downfield targets. So if he ran like every single route. So, I mean, if that happens again, it's definitely Claypool. If both of them are playing and Claypool's back down to 70% of the routes, then I can kind of take it or leave it. I'm not super excited to play Pittman against Miami. I mean, he's either going to have Jones or Howard on him every single snap.
Yeah, you have Jair Alexander up against Claypool.
I think Jair would not be against Claypool.
Who else would he cover if Deontay Johnson doesn't play?
He would cover Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, it's 6.4 yards per target. Ben Roethlisberger is a fucking menace.
So that was a good day for him then.
To the sport of football.
Did you see that video?
Yeah.
That was posted with like the sort of like brownie black and white, and it had like the old time history music. It was hilarious. By Stephen Ruiz on Twitter. If anyone wants to check it out, I've watched it 6 times because it was so funny. He was so dreadful.
Yeah, I would say this: if I could play both Claypool or Pittman, the target volume is going to be high for both. Again, it's just I think the target. The quality of the target is going to be better for Pittman, which is saying a lot because Carson Wentz is not playing well.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched as much Colts as I have, but sir,
it's not good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's less badder.
He throws it harder, but like he is throwing the ball much harder than Roethlisberger, but he's firing it nowhere particularly near the wide receivers he wants to throw to.
All right, I'm going to take Claypool in that one. Let's go ahead and hop on to just traded Will Fuller and a 22 second for Allen Robinson. Are we saying yes or no?
Thumbs up for me. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm taking the good on that one too.
Look, if you watched the show, Jamie, 3 weeks ago, we were talking about how you don't bench Allen Robinson. Now, Matt Nagy is doing everything in his power to test that theory. But Matt Nagy is going to be fired in short order if shit doesn't get together soon. Yeah. So you're fine.
I mean, what was the press conference today, by the way? He called a press conference to state what we all knew. He was like, I'm calling a special emergency press conference to say that Andy Dalton may or may not play, and he will be the starter if he does. And Fields remains the backup, and then Foles remains third string. Thank you very much.
I think Matt Nagy knows he's going to get fired soon, so he's just doing shit like this while he still can. You know what I mean? Because like in 4 weeks when he's sitting on a beach in Maui, and he's like, I'm calling a press conference, no one's going to show up, and he knows that. So.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop on to our quarterback plays that are going to be outside the top 15 ranked on ESPN that will finish inside the top 12 of their position. So I wanted to propose this, right? Because I was going to take Tannehill. I was the first one on the show sheet. I was going to take Tannehill, but Tannehill's like way too obvious, right? Like
you can have him if you want. Ryan Tannehill throwing to Chester Rogers and some guy named
Nick
Erskine Smith. Feel free.
Up against the Jets, you're going to let me have that because you know that Derrick Henry is going to have 10 targets this week, right?
Sure, that's fine. You can have him. You can have Tannehill. I couldn't even name Tannehill's wide receivers this week.
You just did. Chester Rogers. Nick Westbrook.
Kendrick Bourne.
Is Nick Westbrook a person? Kendrick Bourne's on the Patriots.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Josh Reynolds.
No, the dude from the Rams. Josh Reynolds. You said that, but
isn't there someone? Is there a guy named like Erskine something that was playing?
Yeah, Westbrook. Westbrook.
Westbrook. I just call him Westbrook because I can't say the hyphenated part of his name.
Westbrook, is that part of his name? It's
Westbrook is his part. Yeah, and actually, if you go
Nick Westbrook hyphen Ikine.
Yeah, but you can just find, just so you know, you can find him as Westbrook in MFL and Dynasty Planet and all that when you want to go pick him up. Quarterback, I'm picking one.
So this guy has 4 different names?
No, he has a first name and then he has a last name that's hyphenated. But it appears that some of the
Jacob cannot comprehend this right now. This is the first time I've ever seen Jacob confused on any show I've ever been one of them.
Nick Westbrook Akine.
Yeah.
Akine, that's what it is, yeah.
But for some reason, some of the fantasy football sites just identify him as Nick Westbrook, which that's fine with me.
Yeah, well, whatever. You can. So if you want to pick,
it's like Peoples Jones, he gets the credit. Why can't?
All right, so I'm going Sam Darnold.
DPJ.
I'm going Sam Darnold.
Okay, slinging Sammy D.
Dallas gives up they do create turnovers. I'll give them that. But man,
they get pressure on the quarterback too.
A absolute shit ton of passing yards. They're actually, let me see here. They're giving up the second most in the league, 331 yards per game. And I forget where I heard the stat today, but most teams average a touchdown like something like 100 every 140 every 140 yards. As a matter of fact, it was JJ Zacharysen's.
Wow, showed up.
Yeah,
I'm known analyst.
Yeah, I think he might do well in this business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting Darnold to get a couple touchdowns and 300 yards against Dallas, because Dallas's offense is also insane. So you have no choice but to score, or you have no chance against them.
It's gonna be a really fun game. I'm excited to see if they're for real.
Yeah,
this Panthers team. My pick is Baker Mayfield. I'm sticking with this draft class here. Minnesota has been very bad so far on defense once again this year. I'm surprised. I thought they were going to be much improved from last year, but the Bengals were pretty much able to beat them however they wished to. They played a little bit better at week 3 against Seattle. And of course, Kyler Murray absolutely lit them on fire in week 2. Baker Mayfield has been incredibly efficient this year. He just hasn't really had to do a whole lot because they've either been playing from ahead or he's had no wide receivers to throw to. But this Minnesota offense, I think, is by far, the best challenge that they've played since week 1, but back when they were against the Chiefs. I expect that the Browns are going to have to keep pace in this game. They're going to have to keep points in this game. That means Baker might actually throw it more than 20 times, and he's been so efficient. I think that we're going to see a few touchdown passes out of Baker. I think he has a pretty high floor, and I would not be surprised if we see something like 250 and 3 or 4 touchdowns out of him this week.
I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go with Zach Wilson.
Oh, my God.
You're just going off just completely whatever.
I'm going off the rails. I'm going off the rails because I wanted to pick him anyways. That's why I wanted to do this thing was just so I had an excuse to go with Zach Wilson. The Tennessee Titans are very porous, especially when it comes to
porous.
God damn it! This is a bad week for me when it comes to just saying like you
Chase,
always
when you're sitting there and looking at it.
When I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, I got away from that. I haven't said it since that night, by the way, and I've noticed
porous is taking its place.
Porous is now taking its place. When you're sitting there and being porous, no. So Zach Wilson up against Tennessee Titans, who are very slow in the secondary. God, I got to find that word. They actually allow a ton of big plays, and this is where Zach Wilson's strong suit is. Their offensive line is beaten up, and they've taken a big hit since Kai Becton got hurt. I still think that Zach Wilson can come back strong. They face the Broncos. They face the Patriots, 2 of the toughest defenses in the NFL. I feel like they can come back. I feel like he can come back in particular and have a very good game this week and actually outperform what most people actually slate him with. I'm actually going to play Zach Wilson, and I'm going to have a few different DFS lineups. I like him this week moving forward.
Shane, have you considered that it's a Corey Davis revenge game?
Oh, this is a Corey Davis revenge game.
We felt so good after week 1. Corey Davis got all those targets. Life was how it should have been. And then
the preseason, dude, the preseason.
He got a bunch of targets last week, didn't he?
I don't even know because Zach Wilson's just been hot garbage.
He has been. He's not been good.
Yeah, sure, whatever. All right, let's move to running back.
Yeah, he had 10 targets last week. Do you want to know how many yards he got with those 10 targets?
23.
No, he actually had 41.
Oh, well, that's fine. 4.1 yard per target. That's excellent.
Yeah, it's better than week 2 when he turned 5 targets into 8 yards.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into some more of these listener questions real quick. We have
listeners.
Yeah, listeners. What's up, listeners? Where are we? We have Melvin Ribs are keeping him at limited practice.
Well, you should start Javonte Williams then. But I would start Chuba over Melvin regardless because
I didn't see
Melvin
that
is locked in basically a 50-50 timeshare no matter what.
It's like
and
60-40.
Chuba, yeah, it's 50-50. And then you got Chuba.
I haven't looked at it today because it's my next topic that we're covering.
60-40. It's not 60-40 in Carolina. I mean, Chuba saw 73% of the work after McCaffrey got out. And more importantly to me is that he's the one that got all of the targets. He was also used pretty heavily in the passing game in the preseason. So regardless, I would play Chuba Hubbard over Melvin Gordon.
I thought Royce Freeman was the satellite back. What happened?
Oh God. I loved Royce Freeman coming out of college, man, but the dude is just a plotter.
Yeah, he is. Royce Freeman was one of my top picks. I actually took him like the 3rd or 2nd overall pick in that draft. Or I think it was 3rd. It was after Darius Geis.
Oh, so you took him before Nick Chubb? That worked out well.
It worked out terribly, actually. But Nick Chubb was actually taking like the 6th pick of
yeah,
that
people
draft.
were really bad that year.
Was that Rashad Penny's year?
It
was
was
Rashad Penny and Sonny Michel.
And Kerryon Johnson and Ronald Jones. All those guys. Every running back that Twitter still loves for reasons I can't quite figure out.
Darius Geis was good, obviously, but he had his own issues.
Yeah,
but,
Geis would have been good.
Anyways, yeah, we're going Chuba Hubbard this week. They should run it. He should see plenty of targets as well. This is definitely going to be a test, like you guys brought up earlier.
Miles Sanders got 13.5 yards per carry against this defense.
All right. Are we streaming the Bengals D this week up against the rookie
I'm streaming the
quarterback?
Bengals D every fucking week because they're actually good.
Are they, though? I mean,
yeah,
who have
they
they
are.
played?
No,
Who
they're
have they
good.
played?
Like, they're good. They played really well against Minnesota, which I think is a very legit offense. I mean, they played great against the Steelers, which, I mean, that's not very hard to do. But they did play legitimately phenomenal in that game. And who did they – the Bears. So that's okay. But
Does Trevor Lawrence still lead the league in interceptions thrown?
yeah, he sure does, I think.
All right. Did Trevor Lawrence just come out and basically say DGAF? He did. He's basically said, look, after the game last week, he said, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm not going to dial back my game any. I love that about him. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a great year for him. I think he might actually set the record for interceptions for a rookie quarterback.
He's doing the Peyton Manning trajectory.
Which is
getting
fine.
all the mistakes out.
He's so bad at targeting DJ Chark, by the way, I meant to bring this up way earlier when we first started the show. He cannot hit DJ Chark where shit. Like, he is overthrowing DJ Chark on a regular basis.
No one can. DJ Chark has had so many different quarterbacks, and none of them can hit.
It's like when you
look at the quarterbacks DJ Chark has had, okay? I don't want to hear from you guys.
They're all bad,
when you put magnets together and they repulse each other and they push each other away?
That's what it looks like.
That's the football to DJ Chark. It does not matter who throws it. It's just like
sails over his head.
Yeah.
I wonder when he's going to realize that he has a superpower that he can push away leather like that.
Yeah, but no, I would stream their defense. Yes.
Yeah, he would have had trouble in the 80s if he couldn't rock any leather pants.
Well, luckily he wasn't born until the 90s. So, do y'all think Michael Thomas will be an automatic wide receiver 1 when it comes back, or give him a couple weeks after he comes back?
Give him a couple weeks.
It's just, what are your options? You know what I mean? It's
like to start him.
Yeah, I'm gonna start him. I'm not gonna expect him to come out and throw up 40 points. If he doesn't, it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe Michael Thomas of all people did that. But I just also understand that it's in his range of outcomes to get me 6 points. I do think he'll hit early just because that New Orleans wide receiver court is so bad. It's
he's gonna walk right back into being the dude, right?
Yeah, like how doesn't he just get 16 targets a game?
It'll be similar to what we just saw with OBJ, right? Like he came back and Landry was gone. They didn't have anybody else that was drawing targets, and OBJ was immediately the dude.
Yeah.
He's washed. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into this next section. I'm just kidding. Let's go ahead and hop into this next section for running back. Shane, do you have one ready, or do you need some seconds to look at?
No, I mean, I've been looking, and honestly, I don't like many people outside the top 20, but if I had to, I mean, Kareem Hunt's always a guy that I'm willing, since he's outside the top 20. I don't care what defense he's going up against, and it's really not even it doesn't matter what defense he's facing. It's just how Browns are going to use him. So I'll go with Kareem Hunt just because he gets targets and he still gets goal line work.
Do you think he's going to smash faces?
No, I do not. I should hope not.
He smashed faces before. Okay, I'm just saying.
I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I'm picking Zach Moss. Yeah, like no, it's just
that was painful for you, huh?
Yeah, because he's just a guy. Like Zach Moss is just a guy, and I think he has probably the same body mass index as Shane, honestly. But they give him the football sometimes, a lot near the goal line, and they score a lot of points. They're playing Houston, so I mean, my God, like they're gonna hang. And the best thing is the Bills don't care, right? Like the Bills aren't one of those teams that gets up 21-0 and then they're like, oh man, we'll slow it down. Like they want to beat you 56-0, and they will. So like Josh Allen might throw 6 touchdowns, but if not, then Zach Moss will have 2 rushing touchdowns. He's actually been getting receiving work. He played more snaps than Devin Singletary last week. So I don't know what they're doing. They had Singletary as the clear lead back for the first game, and then Zach Moss fumbled, but then he got 2 touchdowns, and then week 3 they're like, all right, Zach, it's all yours now. And he gets all the garbage time carries and he gets the goal line carries. So I think we're looking at probably 15 carries this week for Moss and probably a touchdown or two.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with Moss. I think Moss is a great matchup. They're going to score a lot. I completely agree with everything you said.
Moss. He's so bad. He's so bad.
Okay, so at least we're on board with this. We don't understand what the fascination is with Zach Moss, right? Like every time Motor's out there, Motor's another one of those guys. Like every time he gets a ball, it's positive yards. And then they're like, what?
Who's Motor? Is that?
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yeah, that was his college nickname.
Do you watch Florida Atlantic games?
No, but I used to be an editor at a fantasy
for the
football
Florida
website.
Atlantic student newspaper.
And yes, and he was actually a student reporter. And anyway, next question.
Go Owls!
Did you really just do a cheer while we're on here? That was amazing.
Yeah, the Florida Atlantic Owls. Lane Kiffin was his coach back in college. Actually.
Yeah. God, how do you? Okay.
Next
cool.
question.
All right, so we're on to my
receivers.
Running back. No,
yeah,
my
you get a running back. Chase running
I got Javonte Williams versus B More.
Okay. B More.
Yeah.
B More what?
B More Baltimore.
Be more kind. Be more humble.
Be more Raven-esque. Okay, because reality of the situation is the way that B More actually plays. Right, they allow a bunch of targets to the running back. They allow them to. They allow them to work their way up the field. That's actually a thing, okay? I used to have a company in Baltimore, and we called it Be More Events. So, anyways, they allow running backs to garner targets, right? They allow them to just add up yard after yard after yard to the running back position. And once they get in close, they just allow them to run in. They're actually really good up against the running back in between the 20s, but they're really bad against the running back once they're inside the red zone. I don't know why. I have no idea why. So when we see what I believe they've allowed 115 yards over the past 2 weeks to the running back position, I mean, dude, like Baltimore has not been good at defending the pass catching running backs. Meanwhile, they're susceptible to touchdowns inside of the 5. Meanwhile, we saw a little bit of a rough fumble, right? Which is why I actually like Melvin Gordon slightly more. But if we're seeing this rib injury, concern, whatever the case is, maybe they're not going to put him in that position as where he has to bang up against the defensive line as often. And then Javonte Williams actually redeem himself from the fumble with no touchdown. I'm really liking Javonte Williams. I think that the Broncos are going to have to score. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than what people expect. I'm not saying it's going to hit 60 points or anything, but it's going to be higher than what people expect.
Have you seen that the spread on this game is Broncos -1? And is this a trap? Because I want to put like my entire net worth on the Ravens.
Yes, it's a trap.
Okay.
I think so.
So you guys are taking the Broncos then? Because I'm sitting here and looking at it with the spread, and I can't figure it out.
I mean, the Broncos have been so good, and the Ravens. Defense
you know why they've been so good? They've played the Giants.
I know it's been a very easy schedule.
Yeah,
but I really like Javonte Williams this week. I think he's going to finish his top 12. I think it's a question. He's a lock for me at the top 12. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't do it, then Melvin Gordon's going to. All right.
Wide receiver. I'm going with.
Oh wait, you're not going to do the questions?
No, we'll get to them. I'm going to go to. I'm going to go ahead and grab Marvin Jones Jr. And I know I just said yes. Stream Trevor Lawrence, the Cincinnati D against Trevor Lawrence, but guess what? They are throwing the shit ton out of the ball, and Marvin Jones,
old ass Marvin
is
Jones,
seeing 9 targets every week, like 18 yards per target.
I hate it here.
And for some reason, Trevor Lawrence, he doesn't have that weird magnet thing around him, so Marvin Jones can actually get the ball to him. So I'm going Marvelous Marvin.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I hate to say it. I'm a little bit triggered by all the Marvin Jones talk. I'm going to go back to the well one more time. Last week, I spent down on FanDuel cash, and I played Robert Woods, and I didn't play Cooper Kupp, and then I lost all my money. For the second straight week, Cooper Kupp took all my money, so I'm not a big fan of him right now. But I'm going back to the well. Bobby Trees one more time. Look, throughout these guys' careers, these guys have had like the same target share, same target share. These guys have been the same player. I'm unwilling to accept that after 3 weeks, Cooper Kupp is now a 36% target share player and Robert Woods is 20%. Like, I'm just unwilling to accept it. I will be take locked on this until I'm proven right, or I just don't have any money, or I'm driven into some sort of an insane asylum. So Robert Woods, one more time, pace up game against the Cardinals, a team that Robert Woods has historically eaten for lunch. Come on, Robert. One time, baby. Let's go.
Well, you already know that this could be the week because, and you're probably looking at the matchups, Jacob. So
I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it.
I like your name, by the way. Now your matchups, right?
Be more porous.
The best position for the Cardinals is at the slot position when it comes to their defensive secondary. So
wow,
Cooper Kupp,
totally.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp should actually have a little bit more of a difficult time. Robert Woods is a lock for me this week.
So,
I mean, they're bringing anybody in. They're bringing in.
I'm just sick and tired of seeing the white supremacy involved in Cooper Kupp's 36% target share.
So it's not just me, right? Like, I think it's because Matt Stafford.
Yeah, well, it's because we all know Stafford is like, Stafford is making America great again.
So I thought Stafford. Okay, so I thought I was the only one that thought this, but Stafford's clearly racist, right? That's why he's doing 100%.
This. 100%. Okay. I mean, we all know that his wife is like, one of the leading members of the anti-vax brigade.
She's a QAnon.
So I think we could be it's pretty safe to say that Matt Stafford is stopping the steal.
Okay.
And he's throwing at the Kupp. I mean, they're having their breakfast.
Has he ever had a white wide receiver outside of Danny Amendola?
And he threw a lot to him.
Damn, he's a lot more than he should have. Just saying. Just saying.
That's why he's playing so good this year, Chase, because he never had a white receiver before.
Now
he's got a white receiver.
So now he's trying harder.
Now he's trying harder because he wants to make it work.
All right, cool.
I can't with you guys. All right.
It's mostly a joke. I mean, I don't.
It's mostly a joke.
He said it's a joke, but like,
Look, we've seen. What's weird? We've seen this story play out before, though. Remember when Kupp injured his knee a few years back? He was on pace to like shatter receiving records. Kind of not. I don't think he was even at this level.
No,
and it was with Jared Goff, so it was always something questionable. But it has to regress. It just has to. There's no way in the world that defenses don't start figuring this out at least, right? Like maybe stop covering him with, I don't know, safeties.
I do think that I'm racist, though, because I would say, like, people are always like, why don't you just think Cooper Kupp is as elite as the other players? And I keep trying to come up with reasons. I'll say, like, oh, his reception perception numbers against press man coverage or whatever. But really, it's because he's white. Like, I'm down race. Like, I'm fully unwilling to admit that a white wide receiver is actually elite. Like, when I look at him, I'm just like, oh, you're Brandon Stokely. And that's cool and all, but I can't get to a place where I'm like, this fucking white dude is actually a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Like, it's not. I won't do it. It's a mental block.
All right, so let's move on from this. Let's go ahead and talk about my wide receiver. And I was going to pick Jamar Chase, but I'm pivoting once again. I'm going to Odell Beckham Jr. up against Minnesota.
There you go.
I think Odell Beckham has a real possibility of actually seeing production. Like we talked about, the Browns are going to have to score, and this could be a game like with the Browns and Cowboys last year where they just run the ball nonstop because, Minnesota can't stop the run. However, Odell Beckham did see 9 targets last week. He put up a solid performance in his first one back. Odell Beckham, I think, could put up some real damage and should see some red zone targets this upcoming week. I'm really liking Odell up against this Minnesota defense who hasn't been able to stop anybody. I'm going Odell Beckham Jr. for my wide receiver. Let's grab some of these questions real quick. We only have a few of them. So should I drop Jones Jr.?
Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah, talk about Tony
okay.
Jones.
I was like, Marvin Jones. Definitely don't drop him.
I'm
assuming that's David Johnson. It's got to be David Johnson. You wouldn't
Johnson.
drop Deontay Johnson.
Sammy Watkins or Trey Lance. Yeah, we'll say David Johnson to pick up Marvin back.
No, you should probably drop David Johnson regardless.
I'm not willing to drop David Johnson yet.
Why?
What are you expecting to happen?
So if they figure out a way to prevent Cooks from getting like the ball on a regular basis, right?
Okay.
No. I'm talking about like if
then
they put him in bracket coverages.
Ingram, their actual starting running back?
No, because the Mark Ingram can't run the ball very well. It's like he's averaging like 3 yards carry. Like he's not good at football anymore.
Well, David Johnson's averaging like no carries because they won't even give him any.
But who are they going to target if they don't have Brandon Cooks?
They will find someone else. They will find
Pharaoh
someone else.
Brown.
Yeah, Pharaoh Brown. They'll run 2 tight end sets with
David
Pharaoh
Johnson
Brown
is the
and,
answer. I'm not dropping David Johnson. I will drop. I'll drop Trey Lance if it's redraft from Automac.
No, don't drop Trey Lance. That's
Yeah,
like one. That's the one player here that actually has some form of upside.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't mind dropping Jones Jr. because he's like Latavius Murray light, and Latavius Murray was. I get that he's a handcuff.
No, Kamara can get injured.
Anyone
if Alvin
can get
Kamara,
injured.
no, but if Alvin Kamara gets injured, you're starting Tony
Fine,
Jones
then
easily. If Mark Ingram gets injured, you're still not starting David.
You're right. You're right. So I'm getting rid of either David Johnson or Sammy Watkins, but I probably hold on to Watkins until Rondell comes back.
Bateman, you mean?
Bateman. Sorry, until
But
Bateman.
Isn't he playing this week?
He's practicing.
He's practicing. He's not playing it.
Yeah. So I'd probably cut.
Practicing. He's playing.
If I would cut anyone, it'd be David Johnson. I think
what's Marlon Mack going to do? Like, he's probably not even going to get traded. If he does get traded, he's going to be a starter? Like,
yes. Well, if he ends up in Atlanta, he's going to start.
If he goes to Atlanta or Miami, he's going to
Texas.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he takes David Johnson's, job.
But he was a free agent before. If any of these teams wanted him,
no, he wasn't. They re-signed him before he went to free agency.
No. He was a free agent, and they signed him to a $2.5 million 1-year contract.
Yeah.
He was a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
If any of these teams wanted him, they could have had him.
But he had to pass his physical and all that other stuff. Like,
situations change, okay?
Okay. All right.
They had him.
But either way, look, this is such a low leverage move that I'm definitely wrong. You shouldn't be dropping Jones Jr.
I'm dropping David Johnson.
I'd be fine with dropping David Johnson, definitely.
Yeah, I'm dropping Trey Lance.
Chase is still locking it on David Johnson. Not giving up the dream.
Nope, not gonna do it yet. I mean, I just had this dream recently. Like, I hated David Johnson for so many years. This is my first few months. It's my first few months.
Yeah,
I've actually been on David Johnson.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
One out of 3 weeks, he's been okay. 1 out of 3 weeks.
So all right, tight end.
33%. That's all I need from David Johnson. No, let's do this one. All right. Do you think Lethal Weapon 4 ruined the perfect trilogy?
Yes.
I've never seen any movie except for Lethal Weapon 1. I didn't see 2, 3, or 4. I just
know too old for this shit, Chase.
All I know is that they fuck you at the drive-thru.
Agreed. All right, so let's go ahead and hop on to the tight end position.
All right, I'm going Evan Ingram because I'm also a glutton for punishment.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, look, the guy had 6 targets last week, right? So
he only dropped 4 of them.
Well, he did drop some of them.
He actually had a fumble.
He fumbled. He did, he did do those things. But if he could find a way to maybe hold on to, I don't know, like 2/3 of those targets and then hold on to the ball, he could have a big game. So I'm just going to go Evan Ingram because, look, at tight end, it's so ugly that I'm shooting for the moon, and I'm probably picking the guy that's going to explode on the way. The rocket's just going to go, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll never stop believing in Evan Ingram, so that's fine. I'm going to go with Hunter Henry. I know I've picked Hunter Henry before, and it didn't work out, but I'm going to go back to the well. This is probably the most that they will have to pass all year. They know that they can't run on Tampa. Nobody can run on Tampa. Brady is going to score so many points in this game because he's just going to be fueled by anger and hatred, and I think he's going to want to embarrass the shit out of the Patriots at all levels. They're going to have to throw to keep up. And I don't know why, but Jonnu Smith is once again ranked ahead of Hunter Henry, despite the fact that Hunter Henry is running 3 times as many routes as Jonnu Smith the last 2 games. I'm not really sure why Jonnu is still the preferred option. I think Henry should clearly be the preferred option. He's used as the receiving tight end, and we're giving it to Hunter Henry.
I'm going to go with Dawson Knox versus the Texans. Texans allowed, 21?
Back to the well at Fort Knox.
Well, you didn't pick him, so he was not from the well.
I know. Very sad.
So 21 receptions on 26 targets for 230 yards. That's insane. 1 touchdown. And they face the Jags, the Panthers, and the Browns. The Browns, okay, I'll give it to you. But the Jags and the Panthers, like, these 2 tight ends don't exist on teams. And yet they still have allowed, 21 receptions for 230 yards and a touchdown. That's absurd to me. And I'm going to attack the hell out of the Texans in that secondary as much as I can, but especially the tight end position. Dawson Knox could have a 100-yard game with the touchdown. I think he's a lock for like a top 5, top 6 option this week at tight end.
Like it.
Dawson Knox is going to smash faces. Yes, I said it.
Well, you can say that about Dawson Knox. I don't think he has a rap sheet.
God, dude. Oh man, so let's hop on and finish off these questions, and then we're gonna get out of here. Let's go ahead and go with this one. I was offered DK Metcalf and AJ Brown, DK Metcalf for AJ Brown and Gaskin. Full PPR. Wide receivers are Allen Robinson, Deontay Johnson, Corey Davis, Rondell Moore.
Yeah.
Other running backs are Kamara, Gibson, Hubbard, Sermon, and Murray.
Yeah, I don't care about any of those other things. DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, they're kind of in the same tier for me. If one's actually playing football right now, that's the one I want. Myles Gaskins, I will sacrifice him to play the tax to get Metcalf.
I would sacrifice Gaskin for a number of reasons. I'd sacrifice him, to get an organ for a family member. I'd sacrifice him for some form of religious ritual. I would definitely sacrifice him for DK Metcalf.
What about a bag of chips?
Yeah, for sure. It's raining right now, actually. So if I want a bag of chips, I'd have to go to the store. If instead I just have to sacrifice Myles Gaskin and they would appear, I would do that.
Oh man, we're talking about DoorDash with the running back. So
Hunt, Zach Moss, or Chuba Hubbard. Pick
what the hell?
I'm going with Chuba and Hunt.
So for the last question, I'm actually going AJ Brown.
Okay,
fuckers. All right.
I mean, you want to be wrong? Fine.
Yeah, I would go with Chuba, Wubba, Bubba, Dubba, Duba, Bluba, Hubbard, and Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah,
which is good because I had to say good things about Zach Moss earlier in the episode, and now I don't.
I like Hunt a lot. I'm still going to go with Zach Moss and Hubbard. I think they're going to have plenty of opportunities to score. Zach Moss, I think he gets 2 touchdowns. I don't think Hunt has that upside necessarily. I do like the receiving upside,
but Moss could also just not even play a snap.
He could.
That's the problem with that backfield is there's a non-zero chance that he comes out and they just decide this is a Devin Singletary game because why not?
You could be healthy and active.
Yeah.
The problem with the Bills is the Bills know 2 things. They know 2 things about the running backs. They know that they're both not very good, and they know that running back doesn't matter. So they just kind of go with, I don't know who treats them better, I think. I'm not sure.
Ryan, as always, it depends on your options, dude. I mean, sure.
Wait, are you answering this one?
Yeah. Do I start Robert Woods this weekend?
There we go.
Good
job,
Ryan Seaford, Facebook friend, asks us. And again, it depends on your options, but I'm guessing you don't have a better option than Robert Woods because you probably drafted him. Pretty good draft capital invested in him. So yeah, start
round 3. I mean, Robert Woods has been nothing but a big bag of sadness so far. So I would say that if you had better options, I feel like you probably wouldn't be starting him. By virtue of you asking, I think you're looking for affirmation, and I will give it to you. Bobby Trees.
Yeah, I like Robert Woods a lot this week. He's a start for me. All right, Dustin. Freiermuth came through for you. Good job starting Freiermuth. He's actually only, I believe, 2 spots behind Kyle Pitts right now in PPR scoring. So, good deal. All right, start 2. Sermon.
Pitts is a bust, the people have said.
Michelle and Sir Drops a lot. Is Sir Drops a lot? Are we talking about Miles Sanders?
Who is?
No, that is not Miles Sanders.
I thought it was Evan Ingram.
Jamie would not disrespect Miles Sanders like that.
No, Jamie likes Miles Sanders.
Here's the thing. So Darrell Henderson was practicing today, and they like his chances of playing on Sunday. Sony Michel is only he is
Rager.
Rager.
It's Rager.
He is only Sony Michel is only useful if he has 100% of the touch, because he has to fall into the end zone to be useful. I'll take Rager over him. The upside's still there, ceiling wise, and I'll play Sermon if Mitchell's out.
There's got to be someone better than those 3.
I think if
Somewhere
there
out
was,
there
he would have
beneath
mentioned
the pale
them.
blue light.
I think he would have mentioned them.
Yeah,
So-
I'll play Rig. I mean, he's getting targets.
Yeah.
And when he manages to stay in bounds and catch the football, so that's okay. Maybe you'll get a punt return touchdown.
No, I'm actually, I think I'm on Rager this week. I think that Rager's going to be a good pick. The Chargers are allowing, I believe, the second most explosive. I'm sorry, the Chiefs, are allowing the second highest explosive pass play rate so far in the season.
So fire up Quez Watkins.
Oh, Quez plays in the slot, right? Rager's that downfield guy. And I still like Quez Watkins, by the way.
But Quez is explosive for a slot, though.
He is.
He's not like Jalen Waddle, you know?
They're both explosive. They can both give you opportunities. The issue is Hurts isn't accurate downfield. And
all right, last question.
So, are you kidding me? Shane, cut it out. I'm sitting there thinking that I would actually go with Rager there. I think Rager's like
Okay.
a smart play. I think he offers the upside with the floor. All right,
Give me
Woods
Reg.
or Waddle.
Woods, please. I don't want to live.
Oh, I'm going
Can't
Waddle.
start. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Waddle,
still
Waddle.
going
PPR, it's got to be Waddle.
I'm still going Woods. I haven't given up hope.
I think the Waddle's an excellent play this week. I'm locking Waddle, but I like Woods a lot. I think Woods is still a very good player. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of here. Shane, where can we find you, man? Let everybody know.
Hey, everybody knows where they can find me, but check out my pinned tweet. I think everybody knows by now we lost giant in the community, in the industry, and just a general awesome good dude, and more importantly, a father to 2 children. So just check out my pinned tweet and go donate to Mike Tagg's family, because look, I mean, it's not going to take the place of having him there. Obviously, nothing will, but do what you can to at least support that family. And that's all.
And the fantasy community's done an excellent job at doing that so far. There's been a lot of people that have donated. I believe there's one $10,000 anonymous donation. There's another $7,000 or $6,000 anonymous donation. Fantasy footballers donated $5,000. So the fantasy community is really getting behind this, of course, and they blew the what the goal was out of the water. That doesn't mean that we should stop supporting. $5 matters, $2 matters. It doesn't matter. Just go throw in. Even a small little bit to support, these kids who are now fatherless, a single mom, and go show some love for one of the, probably one of the biggest influences in the fantasy community as a whole, definitely in the top 5. Somebody that's a great person, has made great decisions throughout it, and has helped a lot of people actually make it in the industry and help you win fantasy leagues as well. So yes, go check out @ShaneIsTheWorst over there on Twitter. Go check out his pinned tweet and please donate to that site. It's definitely a major loss in the community. Rest in peace, Tags. All right, Jake, what you got, man?
Man, I'm not gonna follow that. Just co-sign everything that Shane said. You can find me on Twitter. People know my handle. FF_RTDB. Any content that I got coming my way, it'll be on Twitter. And couldn't echo everything that Shane said anymore. Really, really sad, and nice to see that people are doing the best that they can, and make sure to go support.
Agreed, 100%. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life.